Good evening, fellow travelers. Welcome to this cozy tavern where ale flows and tales are told. I'm a humble bard, a weaver of stories, and I have traveled far and wide to bring you a night of entertainment. My name is Mordecai, also known as the Solemn Bard. And of course, a shout out to the barkeep for keeping me here in the tavern to perform and tell stories for you. Like I've said, I am just a storyteller, and not just a storyteller, but also a musician, if I was bothered to play my lute. But anyway, the stories I tell are myriad. From epic battles to forbidden love, from the magic of wizards to the trickery of rogues, my stories will make you take on a journey through the realms of imagination. But first, a few small messages from the establishment. If you want to support us, please give us a like, share, and perhaps subscribe to our channel to help make us grow and bring you more stories like this. Here are the links below. Now sit back, relax, and let the power of storytelling transport you to a different time and place. Without further ado, let us begin our adventure together. You two would be much more compassionate toward me right now if you had heard of this substance called caffeine, Jaya muttered.
I have heard of it.
Karn said.
It is vile.
Teferi entered the room and opened the doors to the balcony. The chilly sea breeze freshened the room, bringing with it springtime's rising bird song. A seagull landed on the balcony and cocked its head, looking at the fairy's bread roll in a meaningful way. A varied thrush landed on the rail, then jumped along it. Could it be the same bird as yesterday? How could such a shy woodland bird with its orange breast tolerate a seagull?
It isn't important who can charge what taxes at which border. We shall be prioritizing the fight against the Phyrexians. Correct.
Karn eyed the thrush.
And keeping the Silex from Phyrexian hands. Silex?
Ajani started.
You have it with you. I had it in my possession, as I plan to deploy it on New Phyrexia and eradicate the Phyrexian threat at its source once I determine its workings.
Karn, we agreed to handle that together. You can't go there alone, said the fairy, serious.
You said yourself that we waited too long. All of you promised me your help, and then you told me to be patient. No longer,
said Karn. The thrush was not even pretending to peck at invisible crumbs. Karn seized the bird. Karn? Jaya said. The bird's chest peeled open and cables shot out. The cables, slick with blood and slime, wrapped themselves around Karn's head. Goo slipped down his skin, and a maw at the tentacle's core searched along Karn's cheek for purchase, its teeth scraping down the smooth metal. Karn readjusted his grip around the creature's slippery body, trying to pull it from his face, but its wires had wrapped all the way around his head, locking together in a thick tangle at the nape of his neck. The creature's teeth caught on Karn's lip. It jabbed needle-like protuberances into him, like it wanted to inject him with some substance, and the needles snapped.
"It's too close to Karn!" Jaya shouted. "I can't blast it!"
Let me!
Slime slowed off the creature and sizzled on Karn's skin, corroding his metal. It hurt. The creature snaked its tentacles between the joints on Karn's neck and around his collar, as if trying to prise him apart. Karn grunted and squeezed his fingers between the creature's slippery body and his face. He forced it off him, flinging it across the room, where it smacked against the opposite wall and slid down. The creature caterpillar crawled toward the door. The fairy raised his hands, slowing the creature within the blurring field to prevent its rapid escape. Najani lunged forward and pierced the creature with his claws, pinning it to the floor. It shrieked and writhed. Acid spurted from the wound. Karn, face still steaming from the creature's corrosive slime, held out both hands, one over the other. He generated a bird cage, building it upwards until the bars united into a dome. Ajani ripped the monstrosity from the floor and flung it into the cage. It rattled the bars, screeching. Jaya crossed her arms.
Turns out, Joda has bigger things to worry about than taxes.
Karn placed the Phyrexian bird on the granite negotiation table. Joda leaned toward it, his eyes widening. The creature in the cage hissed at him. Aaron Capashen looked sick. His Benalish knights had not moved, the discipline ironclad. Radha stared at him, eyes glittering. Her warriors had broken out into muttered prayers. Stan's lips had thinned in satisfaction that his point was made.
"They're here," Joda muttered. "Among us."
"I told you," Stan said. 3 of the Benalish knights exploded outward from their armor. Their eyes burst open in a shower of glistening black oil and their jaws distended, metal teeth emerging from their flesh to stunt their gaping maws. Metallic fibers wriggled out from between the gaps in their armor. One of the creatures swung toward the granite table, his clawed hands drawn together in a double fist. It slammed its hands down on the granite table, cracking it in two.
"The negotiations are over,"
it said. Its comrade seized Aaron with its writhing tentacles, bundling him up like a spider would a fly. Karn strode forward, the fairy and Ajani flanking him. Jaya held up her hand, summoning fire into her palms. Joda gathered energy, distorting the air around him with ribbons of color, and then solidified it into a force field to protect the unchanged Benalish soldiers from the Phyrexians.
"For Gerard!" one woman bellowed, lifting her sword. She charged past Joda's barrier to charge her ex-comrades.
The Phyrexian knight avoided her blow by splitting itself in two. It slid apart into 2 meaty pieces, legs sprouting from what had once been glistening internal organs. Both halves attacked.
"The first wind of ascension is Forger!"
Radha called, backing toward the door. She, like Aaron, had come to the negotiation table unarmed.
"Burning away her impurity!" her warriors bellowed, forming up around her to protect her.
They fought off the lashing tentacles that reached to seize her chopping off the Phyrexian's limbs. But any appendage that hit the ground seemed to gain life of its own, spreading legs and teeth, squirming toward the retreating Keldans. The Argavians fell back, joining the Keldans, fighting with their rapiers, the weapons of nobles who had never seen battle and never expected to. Sten himself only wielded a dagger. Separated from his people, he backed away between the shards of the broken table until he reached Jaya's wreath of protective flame. Karn had almost reached Aaron. The Phyrexian holding him released a low laugh like an opening steam valve. It rolled its body around Aaron and bounded onto a neighboring balcony. Ajani snarled with frustration and launched himself after it. Ajani! Karn could not follow. The balconies would break under his weight if he tried to leap after light-footed Ajani. Karn made a noise low in his chest with frustration and took a step back. The fairy cursed. "I can't jump that distance," the fairy said. The Keldans had reached the door. "I do not wish to leave you, Archmage," Radha shouted. "Keld stands with Dominaria. For Dominarians. We will battle this blasphemy alongside you to defend all peoples." "Go!" Joda shouted. "We will fight together another day."
There are too many of them.
Karn said.
Blockade them in this room.
Radha nodded once. The brass double doors slammed shut, locking the Planeswalkers and the mage into the room with the Phyrexians. Jaya swirled her hands up and around, blocking off the Phyrexians from Joda, protecting him. Her flame burned white with a vicious heat. Karn had no doubt that Jaya's magic could defeat even this. He pushed himself through the heat. It seared the tentacles, trying to wiggle into the joints of his body, ending them. "Much as I'd love to do this all day," Jaya said, throwing a fireball at the writhing hunk of metal and flesh. "Joda?" "I have summoned the energy." Joda's eyes were aglow with it, his skin incandescent. "But I need to know where to direct it to create the portal. A secure location." "I gave her," Sten gasped. He flicked a piece of tentacle off him with his blade and stomped on it. Blood and oil spurted beneath his boot, and he turned toward the next encroaching tentacle and speared it through. "You Argive's watchtower!" "It is as safe a place as any." Karn retreated toward Joda, the fairy at his side. Joda's portal spun into existence behind him. It opened like a doorway cut into the air itself, revealing a small circular room. Joda retreated through it to sustain it from the other side. "I'll hold them off," Jaya said, searing the writhing cables with her fire. "If you can get through that portal, I'll blast this room with such fire that not a single piece of Phyrexian will return. Go!" "My thanks," Sten said. He backed through the portal as well. "And mine as well," the fairy said, and vanished through the whirling vortex. Jaya grinned in triumph as she raised her hands in a blaze of fire and set the whole room alight. The screams of the Phyrexians, wet and unnatural, whistled. Karn stepped through the portal. The magic tingled across his skin and swallowed him, depositing him on the other side. A shape, airborne, flicked past him. Karn turned to search for it. He could see any movement in the small room, but for those who had arrived with him, Sten, Joda, Jaya, the fairy, and himself. Jaya, last through the portal, joined Karn at his side. Joda closed the portal and collapsed, sagging to the ground. Transporting so many people was no easy feat, even for Joda. The humans all sat on the floor, sweating, panting, and bleeding, while Karn remained standing. He searched the room for the flickering shadow. The tower room had tiny arched windows ringing it. It was empty but for a pedestal in the center, which seemed to have a control panel on it. Overhead, a golden light shimmered through a crystal. No, not a crystal. A power stone. A shadow flitted across the power stone's face.
One followed us.
We must not let it escape. It could wreak havoc on the city. Sten flipped a toggle on the central control panel. The watchtower thumped as gears ground to life. The wall's interiors echoed with the rattle of moving change. Steel shutters and blast doors slammed shut, blocking out all light. The room instantly felt stuffier, more claustrophobic. Sten handed Karn the key. You're the only one who's incorruptible, so it's only right that you have it. Jaya bumped her shoulder into Joda's. You never get tired of being right, do you? The millennia may wear on, but no, I do not. Joda's smile faded, and he turned to Karn. Nothing and no one may leave while the tower is in lockdown, Sten said. The fairy eyed the steel shutters. We must capture and destroy the Phyrexian trapped here, and we must determine if any among us has been compromised. We need to know who we can trust before we can plan how to defeat them. Agreed, Joda said. The group checked the room. The small Phyrexian thing that had come with them had escaped the chamber. Karn surmised it must have squirreled itself away through some crack in the stone. He stung the key for the same chain he used to hang the scryer, and a beacon to summon the Witherlight, and turned to face his companions. A frisson of unease traveled through his body, as if an electric current arced through him. Joda, Jaya, Teferi, Sten. How could he determine who he could trust? If the Phyrexians were already on Dominaria, who could anyone trust? And with that, my friends, our night of adventure comes to a close. What a grim state of affairs did Karn and his fellow Planeswalkers have themselves in? With the Phyrexians rising, only a handful of ragtag heroes is all that stands from the impending danger. I wonder what will happen next. A story for another time. And with that said, I hope my tales have brought you joy, laughter, and perhaps even a bit of wisdom. Remember, stories are not just entertainment. They are a way to connect with each other, to learn from the past, and to dream of the future. So until we meet again, may your paths be safe and full of wonder. And always remember to keep the spirit of storytelling alive in your hearts. Farewell for now.